Most adults living alone over 60 do not lose their independence to a fall. They lose it to a screen, a blank screen, a frozen device, a password that stopped working sometime last Tuesday. That is the pattern. Small, quiet, repeating, and every time it happens without a solution nearby. The gap between independent living and managed living gets slightly wider. Notice the risk. The device is not the problem. The setup is. Most smart home technology sold today is built for someone who troubleshoots instinctively. Someone who does not pause at a black screen. Someone who already knows what a network timeout looks like. That assumption is built into every default setting. When a tablet goes dark mid-use, the average response is to wait, then press the button again, then press it harder, then set the device down and not return to it. That last part is where the safety risk enters, because that device was not just entertainment. It was the voice assistant linked to the front door lock. It was the hub controlling the motion sensor lights in the hallway. It was the interface for the medication reminder that runs at 8 p.m. A blank screen does not just cause frustration. It quietly disables a layer of the home safety system. This is what safety professionals often describe as a single point of failure. One device, multiple dependencies, zero redundancy. The pattern repeats. Most seniors living alone configure their smart home around one central device. A tablet, a phone, or a smart display placed in the kitchen or living room. Everything flows through it. Lights, locks, reminders, contacts. It is convenient until it is not. When that device fails, even temporarily, the entire safety architecture pauses with it. And the person living in that home may not immediately recognize what has gone offline. They notice the screen is dark. They do not always notice the front door alert has stopped working. That gap is the silent safety shift. The solution is not more technology. It is structured redundancy, and there is a specific way to build it into an existing home setup without adding complexity or cost beyond what is necessary. It is called the Continuity Layer Protocol. The Continuity Layer Protocol is not a product. It is a configuration strategy. It means that every critical safety function in the home must have at least one secondary trigger point that does not depend on the primary screen. Most smart home systems already support this. The settings are simply never adjusted from their defaults. Here is where it starts. Voice. A smart speaker, placed in a consistent location, running independently from the main tablet or phone, becomes the first redundancy layer. If the screen goes dark, the voice channel remains active. Commands still work. Locks still respond. Lights still adjust. The safety layer does not pause. Smart speakers in this category are widely available and consistently reviewed as among the most accessible entry points for older adults. A link to a well-reviewed option is in the description. The second layer is visual continuity. Most smart displays have an auto-dim and sleep function that activates after a short period of inactivity. This is designed for energy saving. But for a senior living alone, a screen that goes dark after 2 minutes of non-use creates repeated friction throughout the day. The fix is simple. Inside the display settings, locate the screen timeout or sleep timer option. Extend it, or, for a device used primarily for safety monitoring, disable it entirely during waking hours. This single adjustment eliminates a significant portion of blank screen frustration events. It is not a feature most setup guides mention. It is widely overlooked. This changes safety. The third layer addresses the password and account lock pattern. It is commonly experienced that older adults using a shared family device, or a device originally set up by a family member, encounter sudden login prompts or account verification screens without warning. An app updates, a security policy refreshes, a session expires, and suddenly the device is asking for a password the user never set, connected to an email address they do not regularly access. This is not a user error, it is a configuration gap, and it has a structural fix. Every primary device used for safety functions in the home should be connected to a dedicated, simplified account, not a shared family account, not a retail store account, a standalone account created specifically for that device, with the password stored visibly in a designated physical location in the home, written on paper, in a drawer near the device. Safety experts often suggest that the resistance to writing down passwords in home environments is misplaced for older adults living alone. The actual risk of someone entering the home to find a written password is far lower than the risk of a safety system going offline because the login failed. Write it down. Keep it close. The fourth layer is what is commonly called the hardware fallback. Every smart home safety setup, regardless of how well it is configured, should include at least one device that functions completely offline. No app, no internet connection, no account required. A basic motion sensor light that runs on batteries and activates automatically. A door alarm that triggers without a hub. A medical alert button that works on its own cellular connection, independent of the home's Wi-Fi. These devices do not replace the smart home layer. They run beneath it. If the network drops, if the tablet freezes, if the power blinks, and the router takes 4 minutes to reboot, the offline layer continues to function. Notice the risk. Most home safety setups do not include this layer. Because when everything is working, it is invisible. The risk only surfaces when something fails, and by then, the gap has already opened. The fifth layer is scheduled verification. A home safety system that is never tested is a safety system that may have failed months ago without anyone noticing. It is widely observed that smart home devices, particularly older models or budget tier options, experience silent failures. A sensor stops reporting, a camera goes offline, a reminder stops triggering. The device still appears functional, the light still comes on when someone walks past it, but the alert that should accompany that motion has not fired in 6 weeks. The fix is a simple weekly check, not a technical audit. A 60-second walkthrough. Trigger the front door sensor. Confirm the alert fires. Ask the voice assistant one question. Confirm it responds. Check the medication reminder log for the last 7 days. That is the full check, under 60 seconds. Done once per week. If something does not respond, the gap is identified while conditions are stable, not during an emergency. This changes safety. The sixth layer addresses screen readability as a hidden friction source. A device that is technically functional but visually difficult to read will be avoided, gradually, without the user consciously deciding to stop using it. Text that is too small, contrast that is too low, brightness that dims in certain lighting conditions. These are not comfort issues, they are safety access issues. A screen that is hard to read becomes a screen that is not checked. And a screen that is not checked is a safety system that has effectively gone offline. Most tablets and smart displays include an accessibility menu with text size, contrast, and brightness settings. These settings are rarely adjusted from their defaults during initial setup. Increase text size to the largest comfortable setting. Set contrast to high. Set brightness to a level that remains visible in direct daylight, not just in a dimly lit evening environment. A device that is easy to see is a device that stays integrated into the daily routine. That integration is the safety layer. The seventh and final layer of the continuity layer protocol is the family visibility window. For adults living alone, one of the most effective safety tools is not a device. It is a shared view. Most smart home platforms allow a secondary account, held by a trusted family member or contact, to receive status updates or alerts. Not control, not access, just visibility. If the front door has not been opened by 10 a.m. on a weekday, the designated contact receives a quiet notification. If the motion sensor in the kitchen has not triggered by its usual morning window, a low priority alert is sent. No cameras, no surveillance, no loss of privacy, just a pattern confirmation, daily silent, running in the background. Safety experts often describe this as the most underused feature in consumer smart home systems. It requires approximately 15 minutes to configure. It provides a continuous, passive safety net that does not depend on the senior remembering to check in. It simplifies independence. It does not replace it. Notice the risk. A blank screen is not a technology failure. It is a configuration signal. It is the home safety system communicating that its architecture has a gap. A single device. No redundancy. No fallback. No verification schedule. The continuity layer protocol addresses each of those gaps. Voice redundancy. Display configuration. Dedicated accounts. Offline fallback devices. Weekly verification. Accessibility settings. Family visibility. 7 layers, most of them free. All of them adjustable in an afternoon. The pattern of seniors losing safe, independent living to small technology frustrations is not inevitable. It is a setup problem, and setup problems have setup solutions. Independent living is not protected by a single smart device. It is protected by a system that continues to function quietly, consistently, even when one screen goes dark. This video does not constitute professional medical, safety, or legal advice. Smart home technology should be used as a supplementary support layer and not as a replacement for professional emergency services, medical supervision, or in-person care. Always consult qualified professionals when making decisions about home safety and independent living arrangements.